You've probably never heard much about Tethys, and that's okay. After all, it's not the brightest, nor the most mysterious, and certainly not the most talked about among Saturn's moons. But there's something you definitely need to know. Tethys is a survivor, a moon made almost entirely of ice, orbiting Saturn at about 183,300 miles away, seemingly peaceful, until you look closer. And when you do, you realize that this small, frozen sphere carries scars that tell an epic story of violence, resistance, and transformation. One scar, in particular, crosses almost its entire body. A colossal fracture, a trench that extends across 3/4 of the moon. On the other side, a gigantic crater, as if something had struck Tethys with enough force to completely destroy it. But it resisted, and today it remains spinning silently around its planet, keeping the marks of everything it faced. The question remains, what happened here? And how does this moon still exist? The first person to notice Tethys's existence was Giovanni Cassini in 1684. He identified it alongside Dione while working at the Paris Observatory. At the time, Cassini had already discovered other moons of Saturn, like Rhea and Iapetus, and named them Louis's stars, in honor of French King Louis XIV. But it was only in the 19th century that Tethys gained the name it would carry forever, a tribute to the Titaness of the sea in Greek mythology, proposed by John Herschel, son of astronomer William Herschel. The name couldn't be more appropriate. Tethys is almost entirely composed of water ice. Its density is so low, only 0.97 grams per cubic centimeter, that it indicates minimal presence of rocks. It might not even have a well-defined rocky core. This composition also suggests that its interior is porous, with empty spaces between the ice crystals. This makes Tethys a true example of an icy world in the outer solar system. Its surface reflects about 60% of the sunlight it receives, making it one of the brightest moons around Saturn. But what really impresses about Tethys is the landscape. Amid its irregular shape, deformed by Saturn's gravity and that of other moons, there's a feature impossible to ignore: the immense canyon called Ithaca Chasma. About 1,243 miles long, 62 miles wide, and up to 3 miles deep, this structure is gigantic. To put it in perspective, that's like a crack extending from New York to Denver. And remember, this is on a moon with only 1/3 the diameter of ours. How does a small, icy moon develop something so immense? The main hypothesis is that Tethys, at some point, had liquid water beneath its crust, and when that water began to freeze, it expanded. The moon's volume increased. Like a balloon slowly inflating, its ice crust ruptured under internal pressure. The result? A monumental scar, an open wound frozen in time. It's estimated that Tethys expanded laterally by up to 5% due to this process. There are also those who relate the emergence of Ithaca Chasma to another event, the impact that created the Odysseus crater on the other side of the moon. But analyses indicate that the chasma is older and that its origin is really linked to thermal contraction and the freezing of the interior. Odysseus, in turn, is a colossal crater. About 280 miles in diameter, it occupies almost half the width of the moon. The impact that created it was so brutal that, if Tethys had been completely frozen, it might have been destroyed. But it seems that, at that time, its interior was still partially liquid, which helped absorb part of the energy and prevented its fragmentation. It was close. A blow like that could have turned Tethys into a collection of cosmic debris. Curiously, the Odysseus crater is too shallow for its size. Instead of a well-defined shape like the craters on the Moon or Mercury, it is flattened with smooth contours. This occurs due to so-called viscous relaxation. Over millions of years, solid ice, but with properties similar to a very dense fluid, slowly yields to the Moon's own gravity, deforming and smoothing the original topography. All of this shows that, however static it may seem today, Tethys has lived through much more active times. It's not just an icy body wandering through space, it's a world that froze its own history on its surface. But the story doesn't end there. In 2012, scientists noticed something strange. A region on Tethys's surface was colder during the day and warmer at night. This was confirmed in 2015 thanks to infrared instruments from the Cassini probe. The heat distribution in this area resembled Pac-Man. Yes, that classic video game character. The unusual thermal pattern attracted so much attention that the region earned this nickname. And it wasn't just on Tethys. A similar area was identified on Mimas, another moon of Saturn. But what causes this Pac-Man effect? The explanation lies in Tethys's orbital position. Like most of Saturn's large moons, it is tidally locked, always showing the same face to the planet. This creates a leading face and a trailing face. The face that leads the orbital motion is bombarded with very fine ice particles coming from Saturn's rings, especially the E ring fed by Enceladus's plumes. These particles leave the surface brighter and with purer ice, which affects heat absorption and emission. The trailing face receives greater impact from energetic particles from Saturn's magnetic field. This alters the surface chemistry, darkening and reddening the ice. This asymmetry creates different thermal behaviors and helps maintain the famous Pac-Man shape always on the same side. Tethys, therefore, is a moon shaped from inside and out. Its marks reveal a violent past, but also a surprising ability to resist and adapt. It doesn't have active subsurface oceans like Enceladus, nor dense atmospheres like Titan. But it has history. And what a history! Unfortunately, there are no future missions planned to visit Tethys. But this doesn't change its importance. It has already survived internal pressures, devastating collisions, and constant bombardment from particles coming from the skies. And even with a crust made of ice, this frozen moon remains firm. It continues there, spinning serenely around Saturn. Untouchable. Persistent. A true symbol of cosmic resistance. If you enjoyed this journey through Tethys, like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss the next content. And if you want to keep exploring the solar system with me, click here on the suggested video on the side. There's much more history waiting for you. See you there.